Okay, so what does locking in really mean, and can you do it while still having a life? So I went to Drexel, and we were right next to University of Pennsylvania, and Drexel is obviously less of a good school than UPenn is. But when you go to UPenn to party, you realize that they're partying a lot harder than you. So every time people talk about locking in, I think about these Penn students that would party until 5 a.m. and then wake up the next day and do whatever they needed to do. And I was like, well, you can still be locked in and be a little crazy. So, like, what does locking in actually mean? So, I have lots of my friends are 7, 8 figure net worths, and they have very, very different lifestyles. So, I have one friend who watches KDramas and plays video games while making $2,000 to $10,000 a day regularly. I have another friend who does 10 hours of calls a day. I have everything in between. I have guys that work a lot, guys that work a little, guys that are fat, guys that are fit, guys that are vegan, guys that are paleo. And I think being locked in just means finding the daily inputs that work for you and then just doing them every day. It doesn't take that long. And then you can take the rest of the day off or do whatever. So, talent, I think, also plays a huge role. So I remember reading about Bill Rodgers, like the runner in the 70s, when he was in college, and he was also on this like huge bender and drinking the whole night until 5 a.m. And then he gets up at 9 and does like this 20-mile long run, like all 5-minute miles or something ridiculous because he's Bill Rodgers. Like, it's a lot of this is genetic. I believe this is one of the reasons I don't like the idea of doing an info product, is that sales and business is largely genetic to a level that we probably don't feel comfortable with. So you want to find the sport or the business vehicle that works for you and find weird hacks. So I'm going to share with you my daily inputs that got me to over 100K a month, one-arm push-ups, high mobility, resting heart rate of 46, etc. I'm not special. This is just what works for me. So the first is one video a day, at least 4 days a week, 2 hours of sales calls a day. On average, I don't really need that many. We have a pretty high close rate. 1 hour of internal training and huddles a day with the team. 30 minutes of deep work a day. Coffee. I have coffee with milk and sugar for breakfast. Protein shake, blueberries, matcha for lunch. Dinner changes, and then I do 10,000 steps in the morning and just walk to the coffee shop, walk around the park. And then in the evening, I just alternate mobility and strength workouts and then cardio sprint workouts 5, 6 days a week. And then I invest a small percentage of monthly recurring revenue per day, equal or greater than monthly spend. That's it. That's all I do. That's all I really need. Everything else is reading, spending time with family, etc. By the way, I'm doing much less than my KPIs to make $60,000 a year in hospitality, which was working 10 to 12 hours a day, rerouting all the calls to my cell phone so I answer every request, running sales meetings, running events, very little time to actually think. So you have to figure out what works for you. You have to find the right vehicle to match your skill sets. And when people say locked in, it really is about 4 hours, 5 hours a day of the right things. And then most of your job when you're in your teens and 20s and maybe 30s is to find out what the right things mean for you and what the right vehicle is for you to express your talents and do really well. So it's not, doesn't mean you have to feel guilty. If you shouldn't feel like you always have to work harder, or you always have to do more. Like, we could all do more, but at a certain point, you're doing it for emotional reasons and not rational. Like, if you have more money than you need, you haven't won. You can always win more, but like, your primary reason for doing it is not like material necessity at that point. So you can, once you get KPIs to hit your numbers, everything else is a bonus, which is fun. So I hope everybody gets there who's watching this. If you need help with calling or whatever, or cold email or LinkedIn, hit me up. Otherwise, have a great day. I'm going to try to do more of these videos. I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit, which is half the reason I made this video. I'm going to try to go back to my regular 4 to 6 times a week posting, and I will talk to you guys on Sunday.